Jeez Louise. Whew. What else? Please get this going. Hey guys. Hi. As you can see, I'm not in the normal place. Make sure the sound is working. It looks like it is. So, what is going on? Well, we had some storms come through last weekend and knocked our power out for a couple days. My hard drive is in my desktop, and the Wi-Fi connection on this laptop is a little iffy. I wanted to stop wobbling. I'm sitting on my bed. I've got to do this from my bedroom because it's got the best internet connection. So, you guys like this wallpaper in the background from 1988? I like it. It's cool. Okay, let me see if I can pull up my stuff. This actually might be a little, well, I won't say it's more comfortable. It's different. It's different. I feel like we're having a sleepover. I do have the chart pulled up though. So that's good, right? I just want to make sure. Gnat, gross. There we go. Maybe. Man, we are still having so many issues with like internet and stuff around here. We've got fiber optics. So that's good, I guess. I don't even know if this is coming through or not. Let me try to go to my YouTube channel because I don't know if this went to Patreon or not. My phone is not connected to the internet right now. So let's see. Okay, so that's working. But I don't know if it's coming through on Patreon. Sorry, give me just a second to look at this. Okay. You go to YouTube now? Yay. All right, I think it is working. Maybe. Yeah. All right, I think it's good. Whew. And if something crazy happens and it cuts off, then we're just going to blame it on Uranus because Uranus likes to come through like a wrecking ball. And it's a new moon in Gemini, of course it is. I'm going to share. This is different. Okay. Oh, my computer's running on storage space. Well, that's different. Is it sharing? I don't think it's even sharing my thing. Sharing this tab too. I don't want to share it like that. This is. Oh, wait a second. There it goes. Oh, crap. Man, this tech stuff and me don't get along. I'm going to get there eventually. Should I share the whole window? Maybe it'll go faster and won't do that screen thing if I share the whole window. Jeez, That little woof going down the rabbit hole thing is annoying. Okay, that looks good. Make it bigger. Awesome. Oh, look at that. I can even move it. All right. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's see if we can talk about this new moon. I'm going to need Mercury and Gemini to help me facilitate this, because that's what Gemini is all about. And Mercury especially. And Mercury is part of this new moon. So Gemini, what even is Gemini? Gemini is a space. Think about how a baby takes in data, information, how a baby learns language and how it learns to move and learns to like pick things up, like dexterity and motor skills and language, like communication, and how it learns to tell you what it wants, and how a baby just like watches every little thing. It just absorbs everything like a sponge, right? I don't know this for sure, but I think I read somewhere once that our brains grow or develop, advance most when we're children, when we're babies, because everything is brand new information. Like there's no map yet. There's no map of experience for us yet. So there's like this wonder, like you're just taking everything in and it's so cool, and then you're trying to sort of like mimic what you're hearing and what you're seeing. Why is that gnat attacking me? That's what the Gemini space is. It's the space where it's just like the data is flowing, the information is flowing. You can perceive so many new things. The perception, it's just like wide open, raw perception. When our subconscious is there, the moon, I feel like it makes it easier for us to tap into or to perceive what's going on in our subconscious. A new moon is a new cycle. So I think if you're somebody who works with the moon cycles, this new moon, work on or try to have, however you do it, this sort of raw awareness, just an open perception. Don't try to follow things too much. Don't create a story behind them. In my Scorpio S&M room stream that I did last week, I talked about having an open awareness, like when you meditate and your monkey brain is going, but you're not like attaching yourself to those thoughts and following them. Like if you hear something, you're not going like, well, what was that sound? It sounds like a bird, or it sounds like a, what kind of bird was it? Or is it flying? Is it walking? Like you're not going down that. You're just noticing the sound. You're just being aware of it. So just sort of like sit with your internal thoughts, I think, for this new moon. Try to become aware of yourself, really. Not like your waking consciousness, your ego consciousness, the person that goes through the world, but like the inner you. See if you can tap into that, because I think that a new moon in Gemini, that's a really good place for the moon to I think that's a really good place for people to be aware of the moon, your own moon, and sort of understand what your perception is and what your perspective is on things. Mercury is conjunct this new moon. Mercury probably like in a couple days is going to be right there with the sun. The moon's going to be a little bit further, but Mercury, in alchemy, Mercury is seen as like, I like to think of Mercury as the facilitator, the one that makes the connections, because that's really what this new moon is about. It's all about air. It's all about making the right connections. Um, let me talk about that for a second. So anytime we're talking about information, data, whether it's through language, like any form of communication or movement, commerce, these kinds of things, transportation, all Mercury's domain. It's all air. It's about connecting one thing to another thing or making a connection from here to there. Air is all about connection. It's what creates meaning. It's what it's it is our perception. It's how we see the world. Everything we see or hear is all just information that gets sent to our brain, and then our brain like puts together the data, connects the dots, and says, hey, this is what you're seeing. And that's how our reality is created, right? Virtual reality, like there have been so many really cool neuroscience studies done on virtual reality where you can, even if you're just playing like a virtual reality game, like your body will physically react as if you were in that situation because your brain thinks you're in that situation because that's what it's perceiving, right? So if you're playing a game where you've got to run or like something comes at you and startles you, or like it affects your heart rate, it affects all kinds of stuff. Like it's really cool. So that's what air is. It's how we make the connections. And in order for there to be a connection, you have to understand that there's you and then there's something outside of you. There's this other, whatever that other is. It could just be like you are here at home and the vacation spot you're going to is, ever how many miles away. The vacation spot is the other, and air is the connection between the two. Or it could be the person you're talking with. Right now, there's a connection. You are the other and I am me, or I am the other and you are you. So air is all about making those connections. In alchemy, Mercury is the linking element that allows this connection to flow. It's there's the connection, and then Mercury moves something along the connection. It transmutes. So in alchemy, there are three main principles, elements that are super important, and that's mercury, sulfur, and salt. Salt is the material, it's us, right? And sulfur is like consciousness. So mercury allows consciousness to reside in matter, whatever the matter is, right? It could be plants, animals, whatever you think has a consciousness, or whatever word you want to substitute for consciousness, spirit, life, all of those things. Mercury is the thing that allows that flow to happen. It can make things become their opposite. So it can move you from this place to the other place. It can allow me to talk to you. Don't think of opposite like completely different. Think of it more like in astrological terms where they're opposing each other, right? Like we are across from each other, or the vacation spot is across from me over there. Things that are in opposition of each other, that are not together. Mercury can turn lead into gold. That's what Mercury does. It moves things around. It allows us to move where we want to move and do what we want to do. This is why Mercury is known as the magician, right? What does the magician do? It changes one thing into another. It directs reality. It creates reality. That's what Mercury does. Just like with the virtual reality games, your brain thinks that's your reality right now. So our reality is really like there are, I guess I don't want to just say like Buddhism, but there are several traditions that talk about how reality is an illusion. I think I won't say a better word or a more accurate word, but another word you can use is reality is a perception. It's what we perceive it to be. And since Gemini is just this raw, open perception, there's no intention in the perception of Gemini. And then you've got Mercury that can move wherever it wants to, wherever you direct it. Like this is sort of like a foundation. It's kind of like if you've got your cauldron or whatever you're going to put your spell in, and it's just ready for you to do whatever you want to it. That's kind of how this is. It's the unformed material where, like, there are all possibilities. Anything you want to do, you can do because nothing has been started yet. Try to think of it like that. Whatever you want to create with this new moon, you can, because you're the magician and you have the raw materials and no recipes have been started yet. So you can cook whatever you want to cook. You can make whatever you want to make. You can go wherever you want to go. Try to tap into that part of yourself subconsciously, internally. Some people like to dream journal. I don't know why I just thought about dreaming with this subconscious thing, because I don't usually. But if you're somebody that likes to work with dreams, you might try, like, this is just a suggestion. You might try before you go to sleep, like writing down what you want to dream about or what you would like an answer to in your dream or something like that. Or you could just start journaling your dreams. Don't really set any intentions before you go to sleep, but then when you wake up, just kind of jot down what you perceived in your dreams. I think that would be a really cool way to work with this new moon. I might try that myself. So yeah, just being open to this perception without any intention, like I said, without any judgment. Aside from Mercury, the other biggest thing I see, so we've got the new moon right here with the sun and moon, and then we've got Mercury, and then we've got Pluto over here, and it's trining Mercury and the new moon. Pluto in Aquarius is all about, like, Pluto likes to draw out the poison, right? That's what it does. It shows you where the poison is and sort of like starts pulling it out. And that can be uncomfortable. If you've ever had to remove a splinter or a thorn or something, especially if it's already kind of getting infected, it's not fun. It can be painful, but man, it feels really good when you finally get it out and it can start to heal. It's like your body knows that the thing hurting it is gone. That's sort of Pluto's job. And Aquarius is all about society and the bigger connection, right? Like, it's the last air sign, so it's the social network connection. Where is the poison in our social conditioning and our social network? Where is the poison? And one thing that kind of struck me, because Pluto is retrograde, so you might have to say, like, if Pluto was direct, you could say, what is the social conditioning? What is the social poison? What is the social thing that needs to be healed? But with Pluto retrograde, it's almost like, what really is the social poison, the social condition that needs to be healed? Because even if you have, like, everybody telling you that it's one thing, that's still a form of social conditioning. So it's almost like it's like one of those things where I can't think of an example right now. Anyways, it's like, like, the two doors in Labyrinth, where one is like, one of us always lies and the other one always tells the truth, kind of thing. Which one do you believe? Like, how do you figure out which one is which? You really have to pay attention, which is an air thing. Like, what are you paying What are you directing your attention to? Because your attention is like an intention. You're directing your focus toward this thing, so that's where your energy is going to go. It's going to be focused on this. The new moon in Gemini, especially with Mercury, helps us be more open in our perception. It gives us that rawness, that lack of, like there's no attachments. So you're just taking things in without judging them. No matter what that thing is. It could be like just something, just total self-awareness. It could be awareness. It's just like blank awareness. Like a little baby. Like you're just noticing things and they're not good or bad. Like you don't attach labels to them. You just notice them. I think that's really good in this case because it helps Pluto in this way. Like it helps Pluto's message come through. What Pluto is really trying to show us. Because Pluto is one of those planets, even though it's the outermost planet, it's the furthest from the personal planets. The things that Pluto deals with are very personal to us. Even if Pluto is in a sign like Aquarius, and we're talking about like social conditioning and social wounds, those things affect us directly. Those things are painful for us personally, not just as a society. When one person is hurt or wounded, it affects the whole tribe, right? You want everybody in your tribe to be healthy. So the social things are the personal things, and the personal things are the social things. Like there's a connection there, a link there. And Pluto and Aquarius makes that kind of obvious. So yeah, Pluto being retrograde, it's like, well, I think this is what the social conditioning is. We are aware that there's a social conditioning and everybody says it's this, but is it really this kind of thing? Or do I think this is really the thing? It's almost like as you're going through and examining, I think about it like this, like a doctor is examining you and making sure like, okay, we think this is a problem. Pretty sure this is a problem. Let me go back and run a couple more tests just to make sure before, we do whatever surgery we have to do, because I just want to make sure that this is the thing that's causing you problems before we remove it, That's the Pluto retrograde sort of thing. I say sort of thing a lot, don't I? That's all right. That gnat. Where's that even come from? Anyways, I'm not going to get distracted by the gnat. Just looking at my notes. I'm not in my office. So, okay, so we've got Pluto retrograde and it's trining this. It's like this is a free-flowing energy right now. They're both air, things are good. They're both external signs. The only difference between Gemini and Aquarius as far as like the traits of the sign go, Gemini is mutable where Aquarius is fixed. So Aquarius is like that self-reflective type, knowing yourself sort of energy. And Gemini is that mutable, like you need engagement with Gemini. That should kind of be a clue, right? We need to engage with something, with the other. But because it's air, they're both air, like we're already engaging with that other. We're connected to that other. Wait a second. We're connected to that other, but how are we engaging with that other? Because sometimes you just need to be aware that the other thing is there and you don't have to engage with that connection. It's like the power in your house, all the electrical wires, they're connected. They're aware that they are all connected, but they're not always engaged with each other. The light switches are not always flipped on because sometimes you don't need those lights on. I think that's kind of a cool analogy. So which switches do you need on? Yeah. Which connections do you need to engage with, and which ones are okay for them to be turned off right now, even though you're aware that they're there. And remember, there's no judgment in Gemini, so the connection is what it is. You don't have to engage with it if it's not something that you don't want to engage with. So I feel like I'm kind of bouncing around on a couple different levels here, like the social level and then the internal level, because with the moon work, the moon is the last stage we go through as we incarnate into our bodies, and it's the first stage we go through when we start expanding our consciousness outward. So it's the last step and the first step. It's very personal, it's very internal for us, and then there's this whole social thing. So speaking of expanding your consciousness, maybe this will help pull it together a little bit. Down here, we've got Saturn and Neptune. And if you look at where Pluto is here, and then where Mercury and the new moon is here, if you split this triangle, I need one of those little annotator things so I can draw the lines. Neptune and Saturn are kind of like in the middle of those things. To me, that feels like sort of a focus of the energy, but it's not quite. Like a couple moons ago, I talked about the yod and how it's like called the finger of God, and it's this energy that's like focused like a laser pointing out or pointing to you or pointing wherever. This one feels more like it's sort of drawing it back to you, but not as strong as like shooting a laser out. It feels more like if these two energies are beside you, you're sort of like sitting in the balance of those energies, but it doesn't feel forced or intense. It just kind of feels kind of floaty to me, actually. Like, I don't know, in a swimming pool. Neptune, man. Neptune is like the otherworldly planet, right? It's our spiritual side. It's our spirituality. It's our soul. It's mystical and woo-woo. It's our imagination. It's what we imagine things could be. It's what we pretend when we're playing. It's how we create worlds. It's how we create, kind of like what Mercury does with alchemy. It helps you, it facilitates the creation. Whatever the intention is, Mercury facilitates it. Neptune helps you visualize it. It helps you feel it. It helps you know which way you want Mercury to go, I guess. I want to, this is where the expanding your consciousness comes in. I'm going to read something straight from, let me stop sharing. Did I stop sharing? Yeah, I did. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. This is from Stephen Forrest's book of Earth. The Book of Earth, Making It Real. It's the second book in his Elemental series. And this says, when Saturn contacts Neptune. You're here, the screen. Yes. Oh, thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. So when it comes to Saturn contacting Neptune, which is what's going on, and these guys are going to be playing for a few months down here, so just get ready for that. Stephen Forrest says, growing pains are striking my spirituality. What is the nature of the next effective step on that sacred journey? All we know for sure is that it will be a challenging one, requiring significant effort and serious self-discipline. A 3-day fast or a solitary vision quest in the wilderness are useful illustrations, even though my own path may be different. I know that the spiritual experiences of young people tend toward extremities, while the spiritual experiences of older people tend to be more quiet and more easily integrated with everyday life. Wherever I am on that evolutionary spectrum, it is time to take the next maturational step, moving myself in that more integrative direction. The task: I must honestly acknowledge that through repetition and familiarity, I have lost some of the freshness of my inner life. I am fully capable of correcting the situation, and the time has come for me to do that. How? I need to push the edges of my consciousness a little harder. If the mysteries could talk, they would now be asking me how badly I wanted to take that next step. I resolved to answer very badly. The fruits of right effort. If I get this right, I will have earned what is truly the ultimate grand prize, a genuine step forward in the depth of my spiritual life. Maturity, wisdom, and stability come to pervade my awareness of the deep luminosity that is my true nature. Not that it has anything to do with ego or pride, but a quality of spiritual authority makes itself felt in my character, visible to anyone who is sensitive to such realities. The price of laziness: if I turn away from the mountain I must climb, a kind of soul numbness sets in. It is not simply that I failed to take a step forward, it is worse than that. Something in me gives up and surrenders to this three-dimensional world, as if it were the entirety of reality. I become bored with my own spirituality, deadened by its predictability. Without this step forward, I lose heart for my path. Now, what he's talking about specifically here has more to do with your own personal transits, like when Saturn contacts your natal Neptune, but it's still the same energy, it still fits. So he's not saying like, and I'm not saying that, oh, you're just gonna be a soulless whatever if you don't do this. That's not what I mean at all. I think as a society, because this contact is happening between these planets, it feels like there's this. I think people are sick of the real world right now. I think that has a lot to do with it. My own personal opinion, not what it actually is, but I think people just need a break from reality sometimes. That's what Neptune is for. It's for when we need to sort of check out for a second, like, because we do need to imagine things sometimes. I like to read fiction books. Maybe you like to watch movies or plays or TV shows, something that is imagined. You have to spend time with things that are imagined. To want to, some to a lesser degree, some to a higher degree. Everybody has their own balance with that. Everybody needs more time or less time with their imagination or with what is imagined. Chris Brennan and Nick Dagan Best just did, I don't even know what to call this. You can make a Netflix documentary series on this video, this episode of the astrology podcast that Chris Brennan just posted. I have not watched it. I just saw like little bits and pieces of it where they're going through Neptune Saturn conjunctions throughout history. It's like 9 hours long. Yeah. They said that one of the main themes that comes up is like restructuring of kingdoms. So the kingdom is kind of like, Neptune, like we imagine it this way, right? We want the world to be like this. And Saturn's like, nope, we're going to take care of that. And I feel like Saturn gets such a bad rep because it's all about restriction and boundaries and the part of you that says no. But if you can reframe it, reshape it, those boundaries give things shape and definition. So Saturn is very much used to create things, to bring things into reality. So I like to think about like when I look at Neptune and Saturn together, and I hear like what Stephen Forrest was talking about, and other things that I've read from different astrologers, the part that really that I feel, I guess, is making something that you imagine real. Like if you can give structure and shape to what you want things to be like. It could be in your personal life. It could be your house. Like maybe I want to, like, I imagine my bedroom a certain way that doesn't have this 1988 super flower wallpaper behind me. This wallpaper is fine, but I'm not a pattern person. I imagine my room like all black and purple. So Saturn can maybe help me do that right now. And also because Saturn and Neptune are in Aries right now. Aries is it's the space we're born into. Like we come into existence in this place. It's stepping into new territory. It's very much about you and yourself and no one else. It's how you exist in the world, the space you exist in the world. That's why Aries is, the battleground, the war zone, all these things, because it's where you are fending for yourself. You're relying on yourself. There's no other to team up with, none of that. Like it's just you in Aries, and you've got to handle this thing, whatever it is. So I think this gives Saturn and Neptune this it's almost like fighting for yourself. Like fighting to create the reality that you want to create is what it feels like to me. Fighting to give your dreams structure, and not fighting like fighting other people or fighting like that, but it gives this assertiveness to it. It's like, I have this idea, this is how I want it to be, this is what I see in myself, this is what I've become aware of, this is this new moon work that I'm doing. So I've got this like wide open perception of myself and what I really feel. And I'm, Pluto and Aquarius is helping me weed out what societal ideas I resonate with and which ones I really don't. So I can actually be myself, and I can tap into myself, and I can know what I think, and I can create a world that I want, no matter how small that world is or how big that world is, right? Imagine if the world could be like this. Imagine if my room could be like this, if my house could be like this, if my car could be like this, or imagine if I could feel like this. Like whatever sort of reality, whatever level of existence of reality that's on, mental, emotional, physical, I think that Saturn is going to help bring that into existence if we can work with those energies well. There's always like a shadow side to everything, right? Like these are the ideal, the best intentions, and this is what's actually going to happen, or this is like the dark side of what could happen kind of thing. But I feel like as long as we sort of self-awareness is important. Real true self-awareness without any conditioning, without any outside opinions, things like that. It'll help you expand your consciousness because you realize that you are the magician, that you do create your reality, that you have control over your world in that way. And it's a powerful thing. It helps you connect to if you're into this thing, it helps you connect to something bigger than yourself. If you're not into that sort of thing, it helps you connect to like a almost like a bigger version of yourself. Yeah. There's so many themes that are just repeated throughout this. There's like what's right for you and what's wrong for you, the good and the bad, and the what's been conditioned and what's like all these things. And Gemini, as you know, is like Castor and Pollux, and then there's Cain and Abel, and then I wrote down a couple of them. The Sumerian brothers were, I don't know if I'm saying this right or not, and actually we don't either because we don't know what Sumerian actually really sounded like. Dumuzid and Inkimdu, it's like Inky, but with an MDU on the end. Imesh and N10, that's Mesopotamian. Those two, Dumuzid and Imesh, they were like farmers and shepherds, right? So both of those sets of brothers were farmers and shepherds. Kabil and Habil in Islam, that's in the Quran, that was Cain and Abel. There's a Zoroastrian set of twins that were the twin spirits that represented the battle between good and evil. The Haran people in like northern North America, the Nez Perce, they like you can go to any different part of the world and there are stories about brothers, sometimes twins, usually twins, sometimes not, but one of them represented the ideal and the other one represented the real. One of them was air, one of them was earth, one of them was heaven, and one of them was reality, right? And the stories are always about finding the balance between those two things and what happens when you don't find the balance and how detrimental it can be if you can't find balance. I like Castor and Pollux' story best because they kind of both gave a little. The twin that was divine, that was heavenly, sort of let go of some of his self-righteousness and became mortal. He let go of his immortality so his brother could ascend with him to heaven when his brother died. And I think that's cool. Sometimes we have to do that with ourselves. We have to let go of our idea of how we want things to be just a little bit in order to help the other part of ourselves up, so we can, because if we're so focused on like, I want this to be perfect, this has to be perfect, sometimes we forget that it may not be possible in the real world to do it perfect. And just being aware of that's the Gemini thing, just being aware that there's this way and there's this way and not judging it, but just kind of like, how are we going to make the connection? Should I hold on to this idea and accept nothing less than this perfection, this idea of perfection that I have? Or what ways can I give so my reality can sort of level up a little bit, so I can make things better than they are now? Does that make sense? I hope so. I want to hire a contractor to come in. When I say contractor, I mean like the Scott brothers from HGTV to come in and just like completely redo my house all at once. That's the ideal thing. That's not what's really going to happen. I need to make some choices about how to actually get my house renovated, or it's never going to get renovated if I keep holding on to this like, oh, it has to be this way. That's what I'm trying to say. So what are some ways we can do that with ourselves? What are some ways we can do that in the world? And how can we be aware of those things without any judgment? So we can pick and choose the ones that are going to be best for us and use Mercury to go that way. I think that's how I need to say it. Yeah. That's the big takeaway there. So let me know what you guys think. I'm so glad my Wi-Fi didn't disconnect from this computer. I was really worried about that earlier. Uranus Sun conjunction opposing all my Scorpio planets, but it's cool. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. As always, thank you for tuning in. Questions, comments, you know what to do. And I will see you guys next week.